Tonight's homework is on adding fractions with unlike denominators. On 6.5, students don't need to do any of the subtracting problems, only the add. This first one is actually problem number 7. So that's the one we're starting with. Now the trick with this, adding unlike denominators, is to find what we call the LCD. That's the lowest common denominator. What that means is we're looking for a number that both the denominators can fit into. Okay? The trick that I always tell the students is look at the bigger number, which is 8 in this case, and see if the other number would fit into it. 4 does fit into 8, so that actually would make 8 the least common denominator. It's the denominator that both 8 and 4 can fit into. Okay? Now once you found the least common denominator, you need to make sure both your denominators become that least common denominator. So you want both 8 and 4 to become 8. That makes this side very, very easy because it's already has the common denominator of 8. So we don't need to do anything to this side. This side, unfortunately, we do have to. We have 4, but it needs to be 8. So we need to multiply 4 by a number to make it 8. 4 times 2 will make it 8. What we do to the bottom, we do to the top. So where we multiply 4 by 2, we have to multiply 1 by 2. 1 times 2 is 2. Now what we just did is we switched 1/4 into 2/8. The fraction itself is still the same. We just split it up one more time. So now it's 2/8. Now is the easy part. Since both denominators are 8, that becomes our least common denominator, and we just add across the top. 3 plus 2 is 5/8. Okay? Because 5 is a prime number, it can't go any lower. And my answer for number 7 is 5/8. Okay, we're going to start going through these a little bit quicker. Number 8, we have 7/8 and 1/10. Now in this case it's a little bit trickier because 8 and 10, the bigger number, 8 doesn't fit into. So a way we could do this is we use this little T-chart, and we come up with all the multiples of that number, or just 4 or 5, and then we see what common multiples they have. So 8, 16, 24, 32, 40. Then we do the same thing with 10, which is easy. 10, 20, 30, 40. If we see a common multiple, we can stop there. And we know the very smallest one is our least common. So 40 is the smallest number that both 8 and 10 have in common. So we're going to make our least common denominator 40. Now, in this case, we have to change both fractions because neither of them are 40. So, for 8 to become 40, we have to multiply it by 5. So we have to do the same thing to the top. 7 times 5 is 35. 10, for it to become 40, we have to multiply it by 4. But we have to do the exact same thing to the top. 1 times 4 is 4. So then we have 4 40ths. So 35 40ths and 4 40ths. Then we just add straight across. 35 plus 4 is 39. 39 is a prime number, so it's already as low as it can go. Number 9 is very similar to the last one. Unfortunately, the bigger number 10, 7 doesn't fit into. So we're going to have to change both of them. We have to find a number they can both go into. So I'm going to use my little T-chart. 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42. Wow, this is a big one. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. I think the biggest we're going to get is 70. Okay? Which is going to be 7 times 10. Okay? So when we come up with our multiple, this one's a really big one, but it's still going to be okay. 70. Okay? To multiply 7 to get it to 70, we multiply it by 10. So the top, we're going to multiply by 10, which makes it 20. Okay? The bottom, for this one, we're going to have to multiply by 7. 3 times 7 is 21. So now we have 20 plus 21, which is 41. 41 seventieths. Okay, number 10. We've got 5 sixths and 1 eighths. Okay, we can look at both those numbers. If we want, we can even start counting by the bigger number. So 8 16. We know that 6, we can't go into 16, so 24. All right, they both go into 24. 6 times 4 is 24, so we multiply the top by 4, which is 20. 8 times 3 is 24, so 1 times 3 is 3. Now we have 20 plus 3 is 23. Almost nice and easy. Alright, number 11 is tricky, because we have 12 and 18. Okay, 12 doesn't fit into 18. We're going to have to use our little T-chart. So we start with 12, we start with 18. Alright, I did that real quick. But as I laid out these, and it took me a minute just to do, I stopped when I first saw my common number, which was 36. 18 times 2 is 36, and 12 times 3 is 36. Okay, so my common denominator is going to be 36. 12 times 3, so I have to do the same for the top. 5 times 3 is 15. 18 times 2, 5 times 2 is 10. 15 plus 10 is 25. Alright, I like number 16 because we can look at the big number, and we say, does 3 go into 18? And yes, it does. That makes it so we don't have to change this one. It's already done. Makes me happy. Now we have to make this 3 into an 18. 3 times 6 equals 18, so 1 times 6 is 6. Now we just have to do 6 plus 4 is 10 over 18. Now in this case, they're not lowest terms. It can go smaller. 2 fits into both 10 and 18. So we divide them both by 2. And we get 5 ninths. So the answer for number 16 in simplest form is 5 ninths. Okay, on number 17, same thing. 3 does not fit into 5, so we have to find a common denominator for both of them. We're going to have to change them both. Another trick you can always do is just multiply them together, and you'll get a multiple that they can both fit into, because you multiplied it to get that. Now, unfortunately, sometimes that's not the least common multiple, but the majority of the time it is. Okay? So that means 5 we're going to have to multiply by 3, so 3 we have to multiply by 3, which is 9. 3 we had to multiply by 5, so 1 we're going to multiply by 5, and we get 5. 9 plus 5 is 14. And that is our answer. Alright, this one's similar to the last one. Okay, you could multiply 10 times 6 and you would get a common denominator of 60. Unfortunately, that's not the least common denominator though, because if you put 30 down there, it's half of 60, but both 6 and 10 can go into them. 10 times 3, 3 times 3 is 9. 6 times 5, 1 times 5 is 5. 9 plus 5 is 14. Now this one we can see they're both even as well, so we can divide them by 2. We know 2 goes into both of those. 2 goes into 14 7 times, and 2 goes into 30 15 times. And that is our answer in simplest form. Alright, second to last problem. Looking at both of these, it's going to be a little tough because 2 doesn't fit into 9, so again we know we have to change both denominators. 2 times 9 is 18. To me, that looks like that was probably the lowest that we can come up with. They'll both go into. So 2 times 9 is 18. 1 times 9 is 9. 9 times 2 is 18. 4 times 2 is 8. 9 plus 8 is 17. And that is the lowest terms. Okay, here's the very last problem. Now what I like about this one is it kind of makes you think. Okay, we have 5/12 plus something equals 1/2. Now what we need to know to figure this one out is we have to know that our answer is in simplified form. That means we got an answer and then they lowered it so it was simplified. So when we first added, because we know we have to have a common denominator, the answer would have been 12. Okay, so 2 used to be 12, because you have to have 12 plus 12 equals 12. Okay, so in this case, we have to find out what 2 was changed to be 12. 2 times 6 equals 12. So we multiply the top by the same. 1 times 6 is 6/12. Okay. Then we ask ourselves, 5/12 plus something equals 6/12. What plus 5 equals 6? The answer is 1. So the answer for this is 1/12. Fits in there. 5/12 plus 1/12 equals 6/12.